guys, welcome back to Honey in the Rock. I'm Sophie. This is episode 25, and today I'm with Miss Stephanie.
Hey.
So we're going to be talking about the importance of church and just all that. And it did so happen that she is the pastor's wife at our church, but and then if you watch a few episodes back, the one on mentorship, that was her oldest daughter, Emily. So there you go, small world. But just to start off, what is your story?
Okay, so I grew up in a small town in Northeast Georgia, Toccoa, and I grew up in the church. My parents are believers. I actually grew up in a Methodist church there, and I trusted in Christ. I was about 9, and so I feel like I grew up, youth group, all the things. When I went to Clemson for my undergrad, and I feel like that's actually when I really started really growing in my relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
Before that, there was fruit, and I do believe I became a believer at 9, but I feel like it was when I went to Clemson when I really started growing.
Yeah.
I got really involved in FCA there, and so I was really involved in FCA, and also I just met this group of friends who also, that was like their priority to really spend time in the Word, and we were in a Bible study and just doing different things. I also really started having personal quiet times then, like spending time reading the Word. In middle school and high school, I think I knew it was important, but I just didn't make it a priority. So that kind of changed when I went to college.
Yes.
And then,
Yes.
So, yeah.
I think that is been an often theme in hearing a lot of different people's testimonies is a lot of people who grew up in church, it's I grew up in church, but then as they got older, high school, college was when it was oh wait, I had to take this seriously. Yeah. And it's really been a blessing. It's been super cool to see the difference of when people have started chasing after Jesus and how much impact that was. So
yeah.
And so another verse that I found about this was Hebrews 10, 24 through 25, and it says, "Let us now consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting and meeting together as it is a habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more you see the day draw near." So that is just talking about how to start to love one another, but then also not neglecting meeting together. And so that's what we're about to dive into, is how important it is to meet together to worship God. So how has community from church impacted your walk with Jesus?
I mean, it's been huge all throughout my life. So I think about all the different groups, the smaller groups within the bigger groups.
Yeah.
So when I was growing up, my youth group and being really involved there, and then different Bible studies and that I've done, but also right now I do this Friday morning Bible study every other Friday. We meet, and I think we've been meeting 8 or so years now, and so just being week in and week out, and then we just started a new life group on Sunday morning about a year and a half ago, so it's not really new anymore, but so just meeting week in and week out with these people who were following Jesus as well, and getting to do that together. It's definitely it's helped me grow in my relationship. It's encouraging to see people who are moms and who are wanting to point their kids to Christ and point the community to Christ and love people well. So I think that's really it's helpful to do that alongside people.
I agree.
So.
Yeah, my mom's in that group, and she is so excited every time she's I get to go to my group. But that is what has been super encouraging, and it's through having now my friend group is so rooted in Jesus. It's changed the way a lot of things have gone, and when the hardships come, but you're rooted in Jesus and have those people surrounding you that are encouraging you, and people like-minded that are going after the same goal. It really is. Super helpful. And going to church isn't going to get you to heaven, but it is something God calls us to do so we can worship Him and get to know Him more and grow in our relationship with God. So why do you think it's important to go to church?
Well, I think the Bible tells us to, that,
Yes.
that we're supposed to meet together. So I think, so we've got that for sure. I also just think it is, that's how you're going to build those relationships and community.
Yes.
And so we want to hear the word preached on Sunday, and we want to worship together through song and just being together. And so I think that is how, you know, if you think about a friend that you haven't seen in years and years, you drift apart. And so when we're not together, those relationships aren't going to be nurtured, and we're not going to be able to you know, do life and encourage other believers. So super important.
That's super good. And like, we're not supposed to do the hard things alone. And so when you're worshiping and fellowshipping with other believers, that's going to encourage you, and there's a way to support you during different seasons of life. And like, Jesus deserves our worship and our praise. And I think something like, it's easy to have like a Saturday night, Sunday morning kind of thing, and people live that life often of like, oh yeah, I go to church Sunday morning, okay, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like, life doesn't reflect Christ at all. But it's really important to leave that, like, pull that through your week on that Sunday morning, so we look most like Christ. So how do you prepare your heart before you go to church to get the most out of it?
So I think just having regular personal time in the Word each day, like I think that actually prepares, like, my time in the Word on Tuesday actually prepares my heart for Sunday, and my time on Thursday. I mean, so
that's good.
So it does, you know, prepare my heart for Sunday. And so I think that is so important to have personal time in the Word. But also, just on like a practical level, I try, so we do have 4 kids. They're getting bigger now, but I try to just practically, like, especially with the young, so I try to like have them pick out their clothes on Saturday night for Sunday, and just try to make Sunday morning go as smoothly as possible. And I think try to take out any stressors that might come up. Now, that doesn't always happen, but
that's a good idea.
but that is something that we really try to do, to try to just kind of get ready for it, so that it's and like I don't wake up right before church, you know, like I give myself plenty of time so that I have time to have a quiet time on Sunday mornings, and then just not rush out the door, if that makes sense.
Yes,
you
so
know,
you can have your heart ready. Yes, that makes sense.
Just taking a minute. We listen to worship. We usually always listen to worship music as we're getting ready on Sunday morning. So, you know, just little things like that. I want, it's so important to me. I want to have a thankfulness for being able to go to church each week, and I really do, but so I want to be thankful that I'm able to go and worship with my church family.
Yes.
And so I want my kids to feel that too. So we try to set that tone.
Yeah, that's really good.
Morning.
And like, I really do like how you said, like, if you're in the Word all week, that really is like having your heart open and ready to learn. Yeah. And then like continuing to learn all week, so it's not like all of a sudden a new thing on Sunday morning. It's just like all week you've just been in the Word. Yes, and that's super good. And I think like during the harder seasons of life, it has been such encouragement to have like church truly care. Like I was in the hospital last May, and the amount of times, you know, your husband came in, our other pastor came, like it was so encouraging. So when you have that church family to come and support you and love you, it was so much easier to see the good in the hard situations. When you're like rooted in Jesus, rooted in going to church to learn more about Him and to worship together. And I think it really is like builds such good community. So if you don't have a church, just reach out that you can come to our church. It's Mountain Creek Baptist Church, Sunday mornings. But it really is fun. And like growing up, I just was thinking the other day like how thankful I am to grow up in church. And for my friends who haven't grown up in church, I just want them to come so bad, because it's so cool to get to grow up like that and learn about Jesus at such a young age, and then like create such cool friendships. It's like
it
really
shapes
fun.
you.
Yes, and it's so fun to look back at like we grew up together, and we grew, like, look how we are growing and stuff. That's really fun.
Yeah, that is really good.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining me this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Yes. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Bye.